There's seemingly a large group of Montrealers that act as if the city's public transit system is free. Last week, TVA cameras witnessed at least 60 people jumping the turnstiles at Prefontaine and Barrie metro stations. Let's now go to Marvin Rotrand, a former city councillor, former member of the board at the STM, and someone who was all over fare evasion back when he was in those roles. Marvin, welcome back to the show.
Hi, Elias. How are you?
I'm doing great. The reason why we reached out to you is that when I was doing research into this story, and as I looked back at the history of fare evasion, turnstile jumpers at the STM, and I saw stories from 2015, 2019, your name was always there. This is not new, Marvin. This is a long-standing issue, isn't it?
It's true. First of all, before the end of the month, we're going to have a new board at the STM named by the new mayor, Soraya Martinez-Ferrada. And that's a good thing. And one thing they should look into is fare evasion. Is there fare evasion at the STM? Yes. The question is how much. And even when I was on the board, I really felt the information of the board members about fare evasion was inadequate. We don't have a real portrait. There are two ways to fight fare evasion. One, to make the system free. And that has a lot of problems attached to it, I won't go into in this call. The other is better enforcement. And that includes hardening access to the stations and verifying more of the riders. And that has problems as well. Problems like racial profiling, use of force, dissatisfaction of riders, depending how much you verify. Now, over the last couple of years, the STM has given between 7,000 and 10,000 tickets a year for fare evasion. Some people say that's a lot. Others say it's a drop in the bucket. Now, I was on the board for 17 years, and I handled customer service for a long time. Before 2008, we couldn't really tell how much evasion we had because our system was paper-based. When we went to the Opus card and we modernized our system, we certainly had a way to better verify. Right now, you have to keep proof of payment. And we verify, or the STM now verifies, about 2.5 to 3% of all its riders. So let's look at the revenues. Last year's budget said that $890 million was going to come in from revenue from riders. The STM has always maintained about saying its fare evasion is about 1%. I have no proof of that, but they said that. That would be $8.9 million. If it's 2%, it's over $17 million. If it's 3%, we're now talking about real money.
Yeah.
Now, is the STM the best transit agency in the world? Because elsewhere, let's look at the numbers. What got me and Alan D'Souza to raise this issue at City Council in 2021 and call for an audit by the City of Montreal auditor, an independent audit, was the Toronto audit of 2019. The auditor there tore apart the TTC's assertion that it was losing only $30 million a year. The auditor came up with a figure of $64 million a year. It's now estimated to be over $100 million. The auditor in Toronto said Toronto had a streetcar problem, 16% of people weren't paying. Metro, almost 4%. Buses, almost 6%. Elsewhere in Europe, you're having huge evasion problems. In Paris, over $700 million is lost a year. London Transport says they have a 3.8% evasion rate. That's $260 million. In Asia, about the only place where we can verify that evasion is low, they've taken measures we haven't here. For example, you don't only pay to go in. You can't get out of the metro unless you use the same ticket, token, or credit card to get out. They also have fare adjustment in Tokyo. If you buy a ticket by distance from point A to B, but you go to C, you can't get out of the metro. You have to pay the extra amount. They have higher turnstiles, so you can't jump over it. They have cameras. It's difficult to evade in Tokyo, Hong Kong, Taipei, and Singapore, but you have to spend a lot of money to get a system that's secure.
Well, so Marvin, what do you say to someone who says this should not be a priority? The people that aren't paying, it's because they can't pay. This is draconian to go after people evading fares. What do you say to that?
There is some truth in that argument. However, there are ways around that. In Toronto, where they give a lot more tickets to try to reduce the loss, because every dollar you lose is a dollar that isn't going into better services or keeping fares lower for the vast majority of people. It's a way of stealing from your average working class rider who is actually paying for their tariff. What happens there? People are given a long time to pay their fines on a monthly basis, and sometimes they qualify for reduced fares. There's been a debate in Montreal about a social tariff. There's problems with defining who should qualify for that social tariff and what the cutoff point will be. But the reality is, compared to most transit systems across North America, Montreal has one of the lowest fares of any transit system. So question becomes, who's the loser if you allow evasion to continue? Now, the first thing you need, Elias, is a portrait. We don't have it. Back in 2021, Alan DeSouza and I called for an audit. And Craig Sauvé, who was the vice president at that time, he took my position when I was dumped for the second time at the STM, basically said, we don't need it. We don't have much fare evasion. It's a waste of money. Mm-hmm. That's not the case. The TVA recent analysis basically confirms what Journal de Montréal and TVA did a number of years ago. They witnessed huge numbers of turnstile jumpers in certain stations.
Marvin, listen, I have 30 seconds here, and I want to ask you about this. What about the cost to a public transit system when the people that respect the rules and they pay, they see day after day people who don't pay? Can we estimate the damage done there?
I can't, but clearly it's demoralizing to people who actually pay. And it's demoralizing for people who are saying that millions are being taken out of better services that they would enjoy if everybody paid. So there you are. It's up to the new council and up to the new board.
Marvin, great to hear your voice. Thanks for hopping on with us
today. You too, Elias. Take care.
Marvin Rotrand, longtime city councillor and board member over at the STM. Great to hear his voice.
I'm Dylan Playfair.
And I'm Tyler Smith.
We're putting loneliness in the penalty box by talking to some of our favorite athletes about the importance of friendship.
This is Bromance.
Bromance is brought to you by Charm Diamond Centers, proudly Canadian-owned and operated. Charm has been part of your love stories and bromances for over 50 years. And you can find Bromance on the iHeartRadio network or wherever you get your podcasts.